Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of ARM Trustees Succession Series podcast, the show where we discuss everything related to estate planning and wealth transfer and how we can create a seamless plan. Joining me on the show today is Mofoluke Keshinro. Mofoluke Keshinro is a lawyer and an estate planning professional with over 20 years' experience. She's here to shed more light on the critical issues on estate planning and the use of a will. Thank you for joining us, Mofoluke.
Thank you, Anna, for having me. Good day, everyone.
So let's get straight into the show. There's a trending video of the late TV host Jerry Springer, who was seen to be speaking about his estate and how he wanted to divide it amongst his children. Have you seen that video?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. So, before we speak more into depth with the video, I would like you to tell us about what a will is exactly.
Okay, I believe, Anna, if you would agree with me, I believe we've had discussions about wills. But for, our listeners who have not had the opportunity to listen to the podcast, I would like to, reiterate. A will is a legal document you can use to transfer assets to the next generation, to your desired beneficiaries. You list out the assets you own, and you would name the persons you want to enjoy the benefits accruable from those assets. You have the opportunity, with a will, to also name a guardian. A will basically is a tool of, bequest, a tool of passing on wealth or assets to the next generation.
So, I mean, if I recall correctly, I know that a will is a tool. It's an estate planning tool.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to tell us also a bit more about estate planning and, all the other tools?
Okay, thank you very much. Estate planning is, simply put or simply defined, is the process of having your estate under a central vehicle and passing it on to the next generation using, seamless process. What you're trying to ensure is, in creating an estate plan, you are taking care of the needs of your family members. You are looking at the status they currently have and making plans towards a situation where there might be incapacitation or death, that they will not have to fall below the current standard they are in. So estate planning is you as an individual who have worked all your life to acquire assets, ensuring that these assets are not dissipated before your beneficiaries enjoy them due to maybe payment of taxes or having to pay solicitors' fees. In your lifetime, when you are still of a sound mind and body, you are creating a structure for the sustenance of your loved ones.
Wow, thank you, Mofoluke. So would you like to also, answer the question on the tools, the various tools on estate planning?
Thank you very much. Yes, there are various tools of estate planning that can be adopted by an individual. You have the tool of a trust, which can be a living trust, a testamentary trust that takes validity from a will. You can have, a deed of gift. You can use life insurance, and life insurance can be undertaken locally or offshore, so that you hedge against, currency. You can use a power of attorney, financial, medical. The options are, there are various options.
They're vast.
Absolutely. And it will be used in line with what your objectives are as an individual, based on your asset types, your family lifestyle, and the peculiarities around your objectives, short, medium, and long term.
Okay. So that's fantastic. Just so sticking to, the tool that Jerry Springer chose to use, which was a video will, I am aware that there are a lot of laws that govern how these wills are run, depending on, the location. So just bringing that home, how possible is it, or how legal is it to do a video will here in Nigeria?
Thank you. A video will is not admissible in Nigeria.
Really?
The Wills Law and the Wills Act is clear about the requirements of a valid will. First, the individual writing a will must have a mental or the mental capacity. Mental capacity is understanding that what you're doing at that time is you are giving out or disposing your assets to whomever, your loved ones, and that when you die, this is how things will be done in your absence.
Okay.
You must understand that process first and foremost. Second, the will you are writing must be written.
It must be written.
It is not by video. However, you can, go ahead to have that written information or details put in a video. So that is an additional document that just proves or validates or reiterates what you've put down in the written document.
Okay.
So a video will in itself is not legally acceptable in Nigeria.
Okay.
And the other requirement of a valid will in Nigeria also, of course, you must be an adult to write a will.
An adult meaning?
An adult meaning. In the wills law in Lagos State, states you can be 18 years.
Wow.
When you attain age 18, you can write a will.
Okay.
While the Wills Act states age 21.
Okay. That's federal.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would say for people that want to write wills, people come into monies early these days because you have YouTubers that,
TikTok.
you have podcasters, they make money online.
That's true.
So with all that, and with the uncertainties of life, we pray everyone lives long, but you want to have a plan around who gets to enjoy these benefits in a document in line with what your objectives are or your desires.
Thank you so much, Mofoluke. So I'm aware that witnesses are also needed. So how many witnesses is it? Is it 2 or?
Yes. 2 witnesses must also be present at the same time when the writer of the will is executing his will.
Oh, okay. So can you list out some of the factors, to put into consideration, given your expertise, that is most suitable when talking about tools of estate planning?
Okay, when recommending a tool of estate planning, you first do a diagnosis of the person. What stage of life is this person? What are the needs? What is the size of the asset or estate of the individual?
Okay.
What are the person's goals around these assets? Are these assets income generating? Are the children still in school? Are these assets in multi-jurisdictions? What are the laws? Who are the advisors that you would probably need to ensure that you get, the right advice to be able to create a plan that is tax efficient?
Tax.
So a lot of considerations would need to be put into, creating a plan. That is why that is the reason we always recommend, having an expert, an estate planner, advice on creating a seamless and comprehensive structure.
So what about, continuing the owner's legacy? Are those taken into consideration as well?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. That is also put into consideration. In fact, it's one of the major factors beyond distribution of assets to beneficiaries.
Okay.
A lot of people want a continuation of everything that they stand for, by their family members and their loved ones, even in organizations that they've built. They want integrity as a virtue, to continue. They want their family members to be known as a responsible member of the society and a lot of things like that, business succession. So indeed, perpetuation of legacies is a critical part of, creating a plan. Okay.
So Mofoluke, in our society, someone can just say, look, I'm 18. I have 2 witnesses that can sign, and just decide to say, look, I can't do this estate planning without, professional help. So can a person create that, or can someone go that route and just say that they just want to create an estate plan without professional advice.
Thank you, Ona. We've had situations like that. People pick up this book, Estate Planning for Dummies. They read it and they feel, oh, I'm a professional now. I can do it all by myself.
Yes.
All these factors are mentioned. Doing a diagnosis, you go to a doctor and the doctor asks questions. What are the symptoms you've been having? And it does, a prescription for you.
Right.
It would probably sometimes ask you to do some tests. I usually liken estate planning to, a doctor-patient relationship. The reason is you have to understand where the person is right now, what the person is done.
Right.
What are those assets? What are the peculiarities around family? Children that might not be biological children, but, they are dependents and he's making provision, or he or she is making provision for them. Like Section 2 of the Wills Law of Lagos State requires that you make provision for your dependents. When you are creating a plan, you need to be guided through the process.
Okay.
You cannot do it yourself. I talked about tax efficiency. I talked earlier about, probably getting advice from other professionals beyond the estate planning professional.
Oh, okay.
In some cases, might have to speak with tax advisors. You would probably have to speak with, business succession advisors beyond just the estate planning advisor. So it is not advisable for anyone to think they can do it themselves. While in some cases you might think, oh, what you own is small. But in your mind, yes, it's small. But there might be certain complexities you might not be looking at around certain types of assets. Take, for instance, people that earn fees online.
Right.
They might not be looking at royalties that will be paid to their estate. Making a plan around the royalties that will be paid to their estate when they are no more. So creating a plan around that is also a critical part of the estate plan.
Wow. So you heard it here. You definitely need to contact a professional. At ARM Trustees, they can, guide you through the process of starting an estate plan. So, Mofoluke, I just want to dive a bit in the area of religion. So we have multiple religious beliefs, especially in our country. How does that affect estate planning?
Thank you very much, Ona. Religion plays a major part in estate planning. If you take it from the Bible, I believe it's Proverbs 13, verse 22, the A part of it, that says, a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children. There are other verses or chapters in the Bible that also, alludes to passing on inheritance and things like that. Also perpetuation of legacy, like we were speaking about earlier. If the Bible that guides, the Christians already states that, what do you think? Leaving inheritance for your children's children. That means creating a plan that would ensure that these things goes to multi-generation.
Yeah.
Not just with you or with the next generation, multi-generation.
Yeah.
Also, for the Muslim faithfuls, in the Quran, chapter 2, 180, provides that when a person is approaching death, they can leave what they have, anything of value that they have. They should write a will in favor of their parents and immediate family. Also, there's a sunnah that validates that chapter in the Quran, that if you have anything to bequeath, you must not let 2 nights pass without writing a will. All this just validates the need for Muslim faithfuls to ensure they create a plan around their assets to be passed on to the next generation. However, you have some Muslim faithfuls who would say, because the Quran itself has made distribution directives in the Quran itself, they do not need to create a plan. I believe this is a misconception, because everything you are doing in that plan, in the will that you are writing, is going to align strictly with the distribution directives in the Quran. What you're just doing is, making specific instructions or directives on certain assets on whom you want to go to, not invalidating what the distribution directive in the Quran are stipulated.
So there's a clear line. There's a difference.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
You are going to be Sharia compliant. You are going to be strictly adhering to the distribution directives for females, for sons, for daughters, for wives, for your parents. Everything has to be strictly in line with those distribution instructions. However, you are making those distributions specific to the beneficiary, not falling out of what the Quran has stipulated.
All right. But Mofoluke, some might argue that, beneficiaries are oftentimes next of kins. You get to fill forms, you see people put next of kins, and they believe in a way that they have written, they've sort of given that asset or that, investment, to their next of kin. Is there a difference between, having a next of kin and a beneficiary in this instance in estate planning?
Thank you, Ona, for that question. You see, a lot of people misconstrue who a next of kin is. I believe during one of our episodes, we've touched on this as well. A next of kin is strictly a contact person in case of emergencies. A next of kin does not get to enjoy benefits accruable from an investment. A next of kin is not a beneficiary in any way. So that's why it's important for you to have a plan where you actually outline who your beneficiaries are. In fact, there have been instances where some institutions have been made to pay what they paid out to next of kin.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because the executors to the estate, and in some cases even the administrators to an estate, they would go to court to sue to have those monies paid to the estate of the deceased. That the payment shouldn't have gone to the next of kin. It is not a form of estate planning.
Wow.
To answer your question directly.
Wow. So, a next of kin is not a beneficiary.
No.
You heard it here. A next of kin is not a beneficiary. So, thank you so much. It's been such an eye-opening session today. So I'm sure that our listeners have learned a lot. And if you'd like to leave us with one or two words, what would you leave us with?
I would like to say to us that first, we should get proper guidance in crafting or coming up with our estate plan. We should not be swayed by maybe the costs or the fact that we will get around to doing it later. We should take that step now and create an estate plan.
So there you have it. Another interactive session with Mofoluke Keshinro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ona.
You've helped to shed more light on the issues relating to wills and estate planning as usual. And of course, to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be continuing on this same subject in our next episode because we still have a lot to talk about concerning the Jerry Springer video. So I encourage you to stay tuned. Don't forget to contact ARM trustees by visiting www.arm.com.ng/trustees or send an email to armtrustees-pt@arm.com.ng. Have a great day. Bye for now.